Antibiotics used to be thought of as the wonder drugs, so much so that Surgeon General William Stewart announced that the fight against infectious diseases had been won. Nearly 90 years after the discovery of penicillin and 40 years after the 150 other types of antibiotics were discovered, we now know that was a grave mistake. During the golden age of antibiotic development, antibiotic resistance was offset by continual discovery of new antibiotics. However, in the 70s, pharmaceutical companies hit an innovation gap and just continued revamping old broad spectrum antibiotics, which started to cure fewer and fewer diseases. On the other hand, bacterial evolution did not plateau. In fact, antibiotic resistance originated through vertical and horizontal transmission. Through vertical transmission, mutations occur in the genome during replication, and with those changes comes the ability to resist antibiotics. Through horizontal transmission, the genes are shared between bacterium in one of three ways: transformation, which is when bacteria gain resistance genes from dead bacterial cells; transduction, which is when genes are carried by bacteriophages like viruses; or conjugation, which is when genes are transferred between bacterium through pili. So far, we have only spoken of antibiotic resistance in terms of genes, but in the larger scheme of things, we are introduced to the antibiotic resistome. The resistome is the accumulation of all genes that contribute to the phenotype of antibiotic resistance. To think about it in simpler terms, one could think of a resistome as soil, a river, or even the human body, which all have normal bacteria necessary for its certain environment. For example, soil is everywhere and presents itself with the most resistance because of its diversity of environments. This is where antibiotic resistance gets tricky, because when resistomes are introduced to each other, which is inevitable, we now have multiple conglomerations of different resistant genes at work that, when put together, can potentially be deadly.